afternoon, and welcome to Real Chicks Rock Presents Real Discussions. I'm your host for today, Michelle Dosberg, and as always, I'm super excited because I have the opportunity to talk to this gentleman today. We're going to get to that in just a second. We want to welcome all of the new listeners and people that are watching us and listening today. I want to give you a little background about what Real Chicks Rock is all about. It's all about the empowerment of women, and we do it through various different vehicles and platforms. We do it through community service, we do it through public speaking and mentoring, and we do it through the arts. And the arts is one of it's this platform right here where we get an opportunity to sit down and talk to people that are doing phenomenal things within our community. And today is no different. Today, my topic is the possibilities of Will Fagan. Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm okay.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so glad you're here. You're a very busy individual. Very busy.
I try to be.
Yeah.
You know.
And it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse before it gets better. So let's just jump right in.
Okay.
Where are you from?
So I'm originally from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Yes.
I moved to Atlanta in 2009. The company that I was working for had got purchased by a company whose headquarters was in Roswell.
Okay.
So I had the opportunity to relocate with the company. I said, why not? And I still have immediate family in Pittsburgh.
Right.
And at the time, I had a house there. So I did have some things tying me there.
Right.
But it was an opportunity to try something different.
Okay.
So I went for it. And I had culture shock and
Really?
everything.
Really? Atlanta was too much, or?
It's so not necessarily too much, but it was because I didn't move here until I was 37 when I moved here.
Okay.
So I had spent the majority of my life in Pittsburgh. I visited other places, but as far as like living,
Yes.
that was the only place that I actually lived.
Right.
And I knew everything there. You know all your people. You know where to go
Yes.
and for what.
Yes.
And then I came to Atlanta, and even though there are a lot of people from Pittsburgh in Atlanta,
Yes, that's true.
I was still mostly by myself. I have a cousin who lives here, but she's super busy as
Okay.
well. So
Okay.
it was kind of hard to catch up with her. So it was kind of like Pittsburgh's smaller.
Yeah.
It's not a small town, but it's smaller than Atlanta.
Really? Okay.
So, and this was before GPS, so I had to print out MapQuest directions to get places.
I used to do that too.
And it was just a lot.
It was a lot. Yeah, I used to. MapQuest was my friend just to move around. Yeah, I remember those that time too. So you're here in Atlanta, but I want to take it back a little bit in the, early in your Pittsburgh years, growing up in the neighborhood. What was it like there for you in Pittsburgh? A very close community, just.
Well, Pittsburgh is a working class city, so it's more tight knit.
Okay.
I would say.
Okay.
I had my group of friends, and the creative community is robust, but it's small. And so everyone kind of knew each other.
Right.
The neighborhood that I grew up in, Homewood Brushton, was predominantly black.
Really? Okay.
And it was a nice neighborhood. I remember we used to have block parties and things like that, and I could ride my bike from one end to the other, and it'd be okay. And then it started to change a little in the 80s, like from the impact of drugs.
Okay.
And then in the early 90s, we had gangs.
Okay. Really? Okay.
Yeah, we had Bloods and Crips.
In Pittsburgh?
In Pittsburgh.
All right now.
Yes.
Wow.
So it changed the dynamic of a lot of things. And the neighborhood that I grew up in were like Crips, and, the neighborhood next to us were Bloods. And, there was a lot of things that happened as a result.
Wow.
But the creative community, was still there.
Yes.
It just, it had different aspects of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was the soundtrack for you growing up then? Was hip hop a part of it, or was it R&B, soul? How was it for you in Pittsburgh? Maybe in the teenage years, probably around your teenage years. How was it for you then?
It was the majority was hip hop.
Okay.
Like I say that hip hop is the music that I grew up with and the culture I grew up in. It was, you know, like when I found hip hop, like early, like Blondie, Rapture, Fat Freddy.
Early.
From then on, it was just like Run DMC was my favorite group.
Yes.
I saw them perform in Pittsburgh at the Civic Arena, and that made me want to be a DJ.
Really?
Like I want to be a tour DJ.
Really?
Yeah, and I did DJ for a while.
I like DJs. I do. Go on.
But yeah, and I used to produce hip hop music for my friends who were rappers.
Nice.
And you know, and I was a DJ for a couple of my friends, and so it was like I did have like R&B and soul, and because I grew up on like my parents would play. We had 8 tracks in our car. I'm dating myself,
Me
but
too.
you know,
I had
that's
8
fine.
tracks too. Yeah, so yeah.
So you know, I grew up on like the Isleys and the Commodores and Parliament and
a little Al Green. Was it a little Al Green?
Yeah, and Donna Summer and you know all those, like even the Bee Gees, like you know,
nice,
all that.
Nice.
You know,
so you had a nice collection of music to kind of go with you as you were growing up, but the influencer might have been hip hop because you were DJing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
How long were you DJing? Well, for your friends and people.
I started DJing when I was 15.
Wow.
And I would say probably around maybe like I was 20 something when I stopped.
Okay.
But I still have my turntables and I still have all my records. Some of them are in storage, but you know, I still mess around here and there. I don't play out anywhere.
No, you just do for home entertainment, just like, oh, I want to hear this, and you just play some music and spin for a little bit. That's pretty cool.
And you know, I used to want to be like a battle DJ. Wow. So you know, I could do some things. So every once in a while, I'll play around.
Is that right? I did not know that.
Because my DJ name was DJ Rampage.
Rampage is in the building. He's blushing. Rampage is in the building. DJ Rampage is in the building. So we're doing this in Pittsburgh, which a lot of people, you know, pardon our ignorance, because sometimes if we're not coming from a big metropolis or known city like New York or Chicago or LA or even Miami, we don't understand the importance of music and how it hits different communities in different cities throughout the country, and what your influence were, you know, what influenced you during that time. Because I know that speared off into some form of this artistic side that we know of you today, right? So while you're in Pittsburgh, you're doing the DJing thing, and you're doing that till about 20. Was it at that time, Will, that you were thinking, man, I want to kind of take this and do something else different, or did that come a little later for you? I attribute my involvement in hip hop to like everything else that I've done. Okay.
So like I've worked full time as a graphic designer.
Okay.
And that came from when I was producing music for my friends who were rappers. Like we would make cassette tapes to sell. So I would design the cover for the cassette tapes.
Nice.
And design flyers to promote and everything. So that's kind of where I started my history in graphic design.
Gotcha.
And you know, I was self-taught, and kind of it grew from there. And like I got to the point where I was able to like secure a job as a graphics
guy
because of my start in, you know, through hip hop. And as I got older and like did less producing and DJing, I still have a love for hip hop and music and just creative endeavors in general.
Right.
So I wanted to still be involved, but I had to figure out what that was gonna look like.
Okay.
So I went to the Art Institute because I wanted to be an audio engineer. And while I was there, part of the course that I was taking, we had to learn some basics of video production. So some of my classes, some of the class projects, I had to do a music video.
Okay.
So I still had friends who were making music, and then actually at that time I was still like, this was 91 to 93. I was still like really into producing and everything. So I ended up making a couple videos for some friends of mine, and that was like the beginning of that.
Wow.
But at that time, the equipment was really expensive, so it wasn't like how it is now. Like, it wasn't as accessible.
Yes.
So once I graduated from the Art Institute, I wasn't involved with video for a very long time because I didn't have access to the equipment.
Right. And the 90s was hot, so you were probably busy. Or, people were starting to really come into hip hop because now we got videos and we got fashion and the world is watching, right? The world is checking out anything hip hop related. So now you're probably you had some opportunities because people are like, yo, I'm aspiring, I want to do this. And so you're like, I'll film you, I can do it. So were you responsible for maybe the direction of it and the production of it, or people came to you, your friends came to you and just was like, I'm just going to spit some rhymes, and you just kind of filmed them? How was it for you then?
For the music videos?
Yes, for the music videos.
So I really only did a couple.
Okay.
Again, because I was, in school and I only had access at certain times. But it was more like I had something that I needed to do, and I was like, hey, this could be beneficial for both of us. You get a video out of it, I get my project done. So why not? Like, you have this, let's decide a song and let's just go out and shoot some stuff and I'll put it together. And that was before YouTube.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
So it was kind of like, we have it on VHS tapes. Right.
VHS tapes. Some people don't even know what that is.
Like,
what? Right.
VHS?
Right.
What does that
Beta.
stand for?
VHS tapes. Wow. Do you still have some of those tapes?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now the trick is we don't have equipment to play.
Right.
Trying to find the equipment to play it on is the challenge now, because they don't even make that too much. Wow. Yeah. How long were the videos? Average time, like maybe 3 minutes, 3.5, if that?
Probably like 3.5, 4, because at the time, like, it was before, like, now everything's like 3 minutes, like 2 or 3 verses of 16 bars. Right. It's very formulaic, but before, like, back that time, they had more. It was more open, I would say. So the songs were longer. Like, the structure of the song would vary more. It wasn't like chorus, verse,
right,
that's
right,
it.
Right.
Sometimes there'd be a bridge or, like skits and things like that.
Just different, totally different.
Yeah.
So now, Will, catch me up a little bit now. In your opening comments, you mentioned how a job helped you to relocate here to Atlanta. So now you're here in Atlanta, and Pittsburgh's in your heart and your soul. You're not really meeting too many people from Pittsburgh right here in Atlanta. So what was your outlet while you were here? Did you try to connect with a creative community when you got here, or how did that work for you?
So when I first got here, I was hanging out primarily with my coworkers.
Okay.
Like, there were 2 other people who moved down with me.
Okay.
But so the thing about that was, like, I was, maybe 10 or 15 years older than them. So that didn't work out that well. I mean, it wasn't like a bad thing, but it was kind of like, I don't need to be here.
That's not where I'm at. Yeah.
Right.
That's
like,
not what I'm doing.
Right. Like, I don't drink.
Yeah.
But, so they want to go out to bars
That's
and
not
hang
what
out
you're
and
doing.
everything.
Yeah.
Which was fine, but, at a certain point, it was kind of like, all right, what am I doing?
Right.
So I ended up finding the, because I used to do poetry.
Oh.
So I figured I could find a poetry night.
Right.
And that again, I didn't know anything about Atlanta, so I was like, all right, a poetry night, that sounds safe. Like you never really hear about anything wild jumping off.
Just a lot of snapping,
right?
Like snapping the fingers.
No fights or shootouts or anything in a poetry event. So I ended up going to the Apache Cafe.
That's right.
And you know, going there pretty regularly, and I made friends with one of the hosts, Queen Sheba, and I ended up filming some of her events there. And from, you know, meeting Queen Sheba, she introduced me to Miss Dia, who was also a you know, a host there and promoter. And she has her own events, but her events were more hip hop focused.
Okay.
So when I was like, I attribute Twitter for a lot of my meeting people here.
Okay.
Because I would follow people on Twitter.
Okay.
And find out what's going on, and you know, like once I found this group of people that were in line with the type of thing that I was interested in, I would just like follow them and then follow who they were following, and so I ended up filming some events for Miss Dia and getting to know like the hip hop artists that she knew.
Okay.
And it kind of went from there.
And hip hop was, in your mind or your feeling, a little different than what you were experiencing in Pittsburgh, right? Because it's the whole Dirty South feel, or it was kind of the same. How was it?
So okay. It was more similar.
Okay.
Because the artists involved on that particular scene were a lot of transplants, such as myself, and they were people who did not change who they were or try to do something because they were somewhere else. They were still doing the style of music and things like from from their hometown or from wherever they were. So it wasn't like trap or snap music. It was just it
was just hip hop.
Right.
It was just hip hop.
I mean, it was like it's all hip hop, but it wasn't like what people stereotypically think about Atlanta hip hop.
Got you.
And that ended up being the catalyst for a 5-minute short that I did called Underexposed Indie Hip Hop in Atlanta.
Nice.
Which I entered into the Creative Loafing contest, short film contest, and it ended up winning the Audience Choice and the Critics' Choice Award.
Nice.
And that led to me doing more documentary work.
Congratulations on that. Because that was going to be my next question is how did we get there? So, Will, what possessed you to want to do the documentary at that time? What was going on in your mind to say, I want to do a doc?
So I think it was mostly because like I was blown away by a lot of the artists that I was meeting and like seeing their performance and the level that they were operating on.
Yes.
And I just wanted to, and I carry this feeling on not even to this day. Like I just wanted other people to know about them.
Got you.
It's like everyone has this preconceived notion about people and things and like Atlanta hip hop and things like that. I'm like, no, like there's that, yes, but there's also this big community of other people who are doing things and who are like really great at what they do. So I wanted to use my platform, what little I had, to give them a voice to say, hey, we're here and we're doing stuff too. Check us out, because the focus, the mainstream focus is more on the other group of people.
Yeah, it is.
That it is what it is. But I wanted to do something to say, hey, these people over here are also really talented and doing things, and maybe you should get some, pay attention to them as well, like give them some spotlight as well.
Nice. And so that 5-minute documentary, you acquired some accolades from that. Congratulations again. Is that when you caught the bug and said, you know what, I want to kind of do this a little bit more frequent, or how did that go? How did that translate after you won that?
So my actual first documentary I made in 2006.
Yeah.
And that was back in Pittsburgh.
Yes.
It was for a friend of mine who's a hip hop artist named Sharon Dawn. He had a project coming out called The Art of Life.
Okay.
So I had there was another artist from like New Jersey or something like that, and he had released a project, and he had released a little documentary about it. And this was like YouTube time, so. He released a documentary promoting that, and I really liked the idea, and I was like, well, we should try that. Mind you, I had not done a documentary before.
Okay.
But I was like, well, I can watch a bunch of them, and I can figure it out.
Right,
like,
right.
That's what I do. I figure stuff out. So we went ahead, like, and he trusted me enough to go ahead and do this. Like, even though I couldn't very clearly articulate what I was seeing in my head.
Okay.
I was just like, just trust me, it's gonna turn out be fine. Just go interview people, it'll be cool.
Yeah.
And because of a relationship that we had, you know, he trusted me, and we went and did it. And like I even did like you know, extras for the because we did a DVD, so we did extras for the DVD and had like even a mockumentary on the documentary.
A mockumentary, cool.
And it was a lot of fun, but it was also a lot of work. It was a learning experience. And I didn't have like expensive equipment. It was like we used like a little handy cam.
Okay.
And there were no like external mics or anything. It was just like the mic
that came on the cam.
And like a hand-me-down spotlight that I had.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm an advocate of just using what you have at the time and doing the best that you can, and, you know, eventually working up to other stuff. Like even now, the stuff that I have isn't like ridiculously extravagant or anything, but, you know, just
the quality,
try to make it work.
The quality is exquisite, and we're going to talk about that. For that particular documentary, well, how long was that? Was that another 5 minute, 10 minutes?
Oh, that was actually like 50 minutes.
It was almost an hour.
Yes.
Wow.
So we broke it up into 5 segments.
Okay, 10 minutes.
Each segment was 10 minutes. I don't remember all the segments, but it was him talking about the beginning, how he got started, his style of rap. We talked to his DJ, who was the producer, and we talked about the music.
Right.
We talked about his take on performing, and there was another one, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that was it. So that happened before we did the work here in Atlanta.
Yes.
And got awarded for that. And so then after that documentary, well, what was next for you? After you got that recognition from Creative Loafing, what did you want to do next after that?
Well, it was all very unexpected. And I don't really care for contests.
Okay.
But I had a friend, Ronnie Nicole, who had really encouraged me to enter it.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, well,
okay.
You know.
Yeah, she does great work, by the way.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Yes.
Like, she's my idol.
Yes.
And that's, so, you know, like, all right, Ronnie says I should do it, so I'm going to do it. Right. So, like, after one, I was like, oh, okay. And then, like, I was still making music videos then. And that just carried on. But I think winning the contest for hip-hop in Atlanta kind of put me on the radar for some people. So I ended up being one of 3 directors who were selected to create something specifically for the first A3C Film Festival. Nice. And this all happened in the same year, so I think that was 2012.
12? Just 6 years ago. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I ended up doing a 20-minute documentary for that called Change in the Game.
Nice. Ooh. I like it. I like it. So we have this hip-hop lane, if you will. You have a love for hip-hop you shared with me, and I respect that. I love hip-hop too. And so that allowed you to do some things creatively just kind of, you want to kind of let people understand why these people are good at what they do, why they're so dope in your mind. And so you got that lane going. I want to talk about how we switch gears, or we're balancing the two, if you will, because the work that you're doing today, if people don't go back and Google or look back, they wouldn't even know all of these wonderful things that you're telling us today. So I want to know what happened, or what triggered, at least before Possibilities of Her, the first documentary you did prior to that one. Tell us about that one.
So, Divided Time,
yes,
is the documentary that preceded The Possibility of Her.
Yes.
And it was still in line with my love affair with hip hop.
Okay.
Because Divided Time is about hip hop artists who are fathers and how they balance those two lives. Part of the reason why I wanted to do it was because, like, you know, hip hop artists, especially, just in general,
Yes.
Get a lot of bad rap.
They do.
No pun intended.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
And I want to show that there are responsible people,
yes,
mature people who are making good music, who are making music, and who are active in their, you know, children's lives and things. Because, you know, when most of the time when people associate hip hop and parenthood, it's not in a
good light.
Right.
Yeah.
So I wanted to show that there are people who are, like, really doing their thing, and, like, even the people who are mainstream who are doing a good job.
Yes.
They don't really talk about that. They focus more on the drama.
Yes.
So I wanted to do something to counter that.
Nice.
So that's where Divided Time came from.
And it was like nine, maybe it was
it was
about nine artists.
Yeah, 9 artists, all based in Atlanta. Like everything I do is primarily based in Atlanta because I don't have a lot of money, so I just use my resources.
Right.
I don't have money to travel and do stuff, so and I prefer to work with independent artists a lot, or like, because I feel like I want to be able to have an impact with whatever I do, and I feel like I could have a greater impact on people who aren't already in the media spotlight. Like, you know, everyone knows Killer Mike.
Yes.
Like, you know, it wouldn't be hard for me to do a documentary about Killer Mike and everyone love it,
right?
Because everyone knows him and everyone loves him, right? So, I'd rather focus on people who don't always get the spotlight, whose voices aren't always heard, and, like, you know, what little I don't really have a big platform, but what little I have, like, use that to boost them.
But it, you know, it makes it interesting, though. You know, I guess because it's documentary work, and people that want to be informed or know about things that doesn't normally come through their myths is going to be drawn in. That's what I find fascinating, because it is people that we don't know,
right?
Just average people, if you will, and you've given them this platform to just speak and share and be transparent, and then we feel like we have a connection with these people. So, you know, hats off to the people in Atlanta, because they do give you a lot of content. There are so many artistic people, creative people, present company included, right, that are doing incredible work. And because we're not Hollywood or New York, or we don't always have red carpet in our midst, doesn't mean that the passion and the integrity and the quality of the work is not there. So that's what I really, I'm really excited about your work and what you're doing, because you get that. And to me, I don't want to consider them the underdog, but maybe it's that whole underground swell or movement of artists or creatives or people that are doing what they do, and you're taking the time to capture that. And yeah, you've graduated from holding a handheld camera to really using some equipment that looks, you know, when it's captured, it brings us in. At least it does for me. It's breathtaking work. The clarity, the cleanliness, the way you capture everything that they're doing and saying in these documentaries is phenomenal. I didn't get a chance. I didn't know about Divided Time. I didn't know about that. So shame on the host here who didn't know. So we'll just slid that one on to me. So I'm going to look at that one. But I do know about The Possibility of Her. And I wanted to talk about that too, only because of the fact that you're taking the time. It's like you flip the coin. You talk to men, and now you're talking to women. And these women are not DJs. They're not. One is. They're not rap artists. One is. But there are just. It was a collection of different type of women, right?
Yes,
Fair assessment, right?
yes.
Doing interesting things.
Yes.
Right? So why that flip, Will? Why did you do The Possibility of Her?
Well, I try to be balanced.
Okay.
So after doing Divided Time, I wanted to do something because Divided Time was focused solely on men.
Yes.
Although we do talk about their partners in it, because that's still a part of it.
Yes.
You know, whether they're together or not, it's still a part of it. So I wanted to do something based or focused solely on women, but I didn't want to do just the flip of Divided Time. So I was trying to think of what else I could do. And I started thinking, because I have friends who are involved in the music industry. And I was thinking about how many industries and fields that are male dominated. And I was trying to figure out if it's male dominated because of the number of people who are involved, men versus women, or because of who's at the top and who's actually doing the work and who's taking the credit,
right,
for the most part.
Right.
So, because I have a lot of friends who are in the music industry, like in administrative capacities. So, and then like I would read interviews with artists, and they would talk about meeting with people before they met with like the top person.
Right.
But it would be a woman a lot of the times. So I'm wondering, again, is it male dominated because of how many men are involved, or because of the position that the men have? And then I started wondering about different fields, and not just entertainment industry, but all the other fields.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it started.
Yeah. It was really good because it was a welder, all right, a fighter, a female DJ. Shouts out to DJ Aquaria. A lyricist, right? And then it was another one, right? I might be missing one. It was quite a few, right?
Yeah. So I ended up interviewing 12 women altogether. I'm gonna forget some of the
I know.
people.
Shouts out to the T-shirt lady because we all get our T-shirts through her. So yeah, over there in East Atlanta. Yeah, I thought that was very good. Yeah.
So a screen printer.
Yeah.
A firefighter, stunt person.
Yes.
Shouts out to Demita.
Yes.
A coder.
Yes.
A web developer. I should say. She'll be angry at me.
No. Please charge it to our heads, not to our hearts. But the work collectively was just amazing. It was really good. It was very interesting, and it captivated us for almost 2 hours. It was like 2 hours. And it was good because they showed their vulnerable side, why they do what they do, and the amount of work and practice or their thought process in what they do every day. And some of the non-supportive people, especially for the boxer, even the DJing lifestyle sometimes, because she wanted to battle as well. And I thought, and the welder was interesting too, which I thought was her viewpoint was more of an artistic perspective, like wanting to translate her love for art into her fire and iron and welding. I just thought it was really interesting how you found these people, and they were willing to just share and just be transparent and do that. The Possibilities of Her has been touring the U.S. Has it not been being screened in different parts of the U.S.?
Yes, so I've submitted to
Yeah.
a bunch of different film festivals,
Yes.
and it's been accepted and screened at 9 festivals.
9.
Um,
Congrats.
Mostly up and down like
The East Coast.
and
Yes,
South.
yes.
Um,
Like DC, I thought might have been
there's
one.
DC
Right.
was one. Charlotte.
Yes.
Recently Austin.
Mm.
Next month in October is going to be at the Gary, Indiana,
Wow.
Black Film Festival.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're getting it. It's good. It's good work. It's good work. And it's just moving across the country. How are you feeling? What's the response when you go to these releases? What is the energy in the room for you? And
So I haven't been able to attend all of them.
Okay.
Again, because I don't have the money to,
Okay.
and I still work full time.
Okay.
So, like having the time and the money to travel to the different festivals is difficult. But the ones that I am able to attend, the energy is always good. Recently, it was at the Bronzlands Film Festival here in Atlanta.
Yes.
And there were several people there who were like, "You did this?" Like, because they were like, "A guy made this."
Yeah, yeah.
Which was interesting.
Yes.
And I guess telling in a way. But yeah, it's been good. It's been good.
It's very good.
Yeah.
It's very good. I mean, because again, when I saw the previews of it, I was like, wow, this is pretty good. And I was like, and not so much that it's a guy. I applaud men who get us as women or want to give us an opportunity to showcase or give us a platform to just express. Because it is, unfortunately or not, the scales are always unbalanced for us. We could be doing the same job or same thing, and we may not get the credit, we may not get the accolades, we may not get the pay, we may not get the opportunity. And so again, I just thought it was interesting that you picked those professions that are primarily male centered or dominated by men, or within it, you know, just that whole thing. And not that guys are hating, it's just have been the nature of the beast. And that these ladies have decided to, this is what I want to do. And they're extremely passionate and committed about it. And we've been seeing the firefighter get her promotion and her accolade, and that was really good. And so we saw some triumphs within it. And just the motivation for some of them, you know, for the t-shirt lady, I know it's her son. I know. And she's a very positive, solid force. And to see her get emotional on film was like, this is great, because that's the one button or one area that if you touch that, that's going to make her feel a certain way. And so I was like, way to go, Will, because you got, you know, the essence of who we are as women, and that we're very passionate on what we do, but there are some triggers and some buttons and some areas that make us weak or make us roar, right? And so for that, I commend you on that work. Is there like a part 2, and not just for possibilities of her, but maybe divided time? Do you think you might want to revisit either one of those, or no?
Probably not.
Okay.
I try to, like, when I'm done with a project,
You're done.
Just let it be.
Let it be.
Because it's so hard for me to cross the finish line in the first place.
Oh, okay.
Because, you know, I'll be tweaking something until infinity, if I'm allowed. So at some point, you know, I have to just stop and just let it
be.
go. Right. So I try to just, when I'm done, just let it go. And, like, you know, as far as like the creative aspect, as once you're done, then it gets into promoting and marketing and everything like that.
Right.
So then I try to put my focus more on that. Than like, I have a problem with watching it.
Really?
Yes, like anything that like even the music videos that I do, like there's a lot that I don't watch. Because I've seen it a billion times. Because you're at that point.
Cut.
Because I'm editing it.
Edit. Yeah. Okay.
And so I'm like, all right, well,
you're done with it.
Because I'll sit there and over critique it. like it's one thing to, you know, self-critique and, you know, learn and grow, but there's a point where you're just like just being nitpicky about it, and that's not productive.
Yeah.
And that'll be me.
I think there's a continuing voice that you have, no pun intended, with our voices, our lives.
Yes.
Because those are shorter documentaries or short stories, if you will, of again, talented or interesting people. And how do you pick them? What is it about them that you say, okay, I think I want this person? Is there some kind of formula, or these are people you know, or how do you pick these people, Will?
So as far as the film, so for Divided Time, the artists were primarily people that I've worked with before, people I've done music videos with, or people that I've filmed their performances. So I kind of knew their vibe and their energy, and knew for that it was important that I've had people that I knew were active in their child's lives.
Gotcha.
Because that's the story that we were telling. For the possibility of her, there were people that I had previous relationships with, like Stacey Epps, the entertainment lawyer, Sa-Rock, the hip hop artist, Aquaria, DJ Aquaria. But there were several that I didn't know prior to starting to work on the project. They were either referrals from people that I knew. Like I put out on social media a call a couple times, like saying I'm looking for women involved in non-traditional things. So the welder was a referral from somebody.
Gotcha.
For the boxer, I just did a search on social media for African American woman boxer, and her name came up, and I reached out to her through Twitter, and you know, I was fortunate enough for her to respond and be willing to meet with me and allow me to interview her. Same with the stunt woman. So with her. She does cosplay sometimes. So like for Dragon Con. So there was a year that she went as Wonder Woman, but she had a giant afro. So someone had taken a picture of her in her costume on MARTA, and that picture went viral.
Nice.
And I saw the picture, and I, you know, kind of saw that she was based in Atlanta.
Nice.
So I reached out to her through Instagram. And it just happened that we had a mutual friend, like he kind of vouched for me that I'm not some crazy person just showing up with a camera.
Right.
Not
a good look.
Right.
Not
For that, it was a little different.
Yeah.
You know, for some of the people, but I tried to meet everyone prior to sitting down with them. With like, I don't want my first meeting with them being me showing up with cameras and lights and pointing them at them, saying, "All right, tell me stuff." I want them to get to know me,
right?
And I want to get to know them, and you know, like get their energy and see, you know, their vibe, and and let them know that what my intentions are, and I only want to present them in the best light possible. I want to be true to their voice, and I don't want to do anything that's going to make either one of us look bad.
I know. That's right. Yeah. So Our Voices, Our Lives, is that our current body of work? The little pockets of documentaries or short stories, right?
Yes. And I started doing that because I don't have an idea for a big documentary project right now. So I try to stay busy because, you know, not being idle is not good for me.
No, not for any of us.
I can't do it. It
drives you nuts.
Crazy.
So you got to do something. Are you doing them weekly? It seems like they're coming out pretty frequent.
Yeah, they were initially when I came up with the idea, I was going to do bi-weekly.
Okay.
But I decided to do weekly because it was, for me, it was easier to build momentum and build an audience by being weekly as opposed to every other week. Because every other week people gave too much time for people to forget.
Now I feel like I need to do this weekly. Now I feel like I need to do this conversation weekly. So you're out there. Is it word of mouth that you're finding these people too as well? Or
so for this, it was primarily people that I knew already.
Okay.
There were again for the first season, it was primarily people that I knew because I just wanted it to be easy for me. Like even then, like everyone's busy, so scheduling and all that. But for the next season, there were a couple people who saw like the video clips that I posted, the images that I posted, and reached out to me, asking how they could be involved or if they could be involved.
Yeah.
So there were a couple people that are going to be in season 2 that that's how they came.
I'm going to reach out to. Maybe I'll make season 3. What makes a season for you? Is it like 12 episodes or 8 episodes?
The first season is 12 episodes, and it's 13 total.
Okay.
But 12 are profiles of people.
Okay.
And the 13th is finale. So it's called First. Ironically, I didn't even think about it until afterwards. Like the last episode is called First. But I interviewed 3 different couples and had them tell the story of their first kiss.
Yeah. Ooh. Very interesting stuff. Well, I want to talk to you about with us being here in Atlanta. There is so much buzz with film and movies here now. It never was this way when we first got here, right? When you got nobody's really doing stuff, and if they were doing stuff, it felt more like B movies, like really not things that were hitting on big screens or on TV networks. But now it's everything, and I don't know if it was because of reality TV, if that opened up the door with the Housewives situation, and then other reality TV shows follow suit, and then people are like, no, we could really do movies here. And then there's Tyler Perry that's here and all that. And the report last year or the year before that was that Atlanta was made like $8 or $9 billion in the film industry. Do we feel that any of that is trickling down to us documentary people or people that are doing the type of work that you're doing? Hasn't hit us yet, right?
No, not for me.
Okay.
I operate outside of that, so I'm not
Gotcha.
actually involved in the industry stuff.
I gotcha.
But I do have a couple friends who it has trickled down some. I have a friend who was a camera operator. And he's been, pretty busy because of all the production that's been going on. Then I have another friend, Jason Lauder, who is an actor, and he's been able to. He had a role on Black Lightning.
Good show.
Yeah, right.
Good show.
And some other opportunities have come up. So I think it's not going at the rate that we would like.
Okay.
Slowly, maybe, possibly, trickling down, and I think it's one of the things that my one friend told me is that though a lot of things are being filmed here, the crew and even the post production is still California based, so they'll bring their crew with them
here,
because it's people that they it's still
still
like any other industries, still like, oh well, I know Bob, so I'm going to work with Bob. Yeah,
and not really introducing some of the local talent that we have, and so we can marinate better, infiltrate some of that better.
Yeah, even Donald Glover's show, Atlanta, which is
Atlanta.
Right. The post-production, the editing and everything is done in California.
For your work that you're doing, any sponsors or anyone partnering with you? It's all you.
Yeah. It's
truly independent work.
Right. Yeah. It's just me financing it through my job.
Wow. Do you thought about GoFundMe's or anything like that, or no? Oh, he's that look. You didn't see that look. That look was like, Is it a pain to do the GoFundMe's and that kind of thing?
It's just not
you.
Me.
It's not you.
It's not me. I know people who've been very successful with the GoFundMe's. It's just not me.
Wow. You love what you do, Will. You love what you do because you're paying for it. Word. Right. Yeah. You love what you do. You're not alone because there's quite a few of us that are paying for what we do because we love it. But we feel that it has to get out, and it does you no good keeping it into yourself. So you're just expressing yourself through this media and through this platform. And I think it's amazing. I think it's great. Are you still in the midst of season 2 with Our Voices, Our Lives, or we're wrapping that season up? Going to do a 3rd season or no?
I am actually in the process production mode for season 2.
Okay.
Season 1 just ended August 31st.
Okay, just ended. That was a few weeks ago. Yeah.
So I'm really just now like starting to pick up season 2 and filming and actually I have my cameras and stuff with me because when I'm done with this interview I'm going to go film an interview with an artist, Goldie Gold.
Nice.
Yes.
See, for me, I binge watched. So
I mean, they're short. They're like 5.5 minutes. So like, it'll be an hour for someone to watch the whole season.
The whole thing. Yeah, I gotta get in season 2. Who do I need to talk to get in for season 2? So what's next for you, Will? I know we're doing our voices, our lives. We're just looking for inspiration to really do like another documentary. Is there anything else that you have in the works?
So right now I'm talking to an artist here in Atlanta that I really admire. He's actually like an international artist. Like he has his art in France and like everywhere, you know. And we're talking about doing something, a documentary about. It's not about his art, but it's about something else. I can't.
You can't say. Don't have to say
right now, but I'm looking forward to that.
Okay.
But that's probably not gonna be for a while.
Okay.
So right now, my main focus is season 2 of Our Voices, Our Lives, and as the film festivals wind down for the possibility of Her, I'm going to be releasing it on like DVD and Blu-ray.
Nice.
So I'm starting to gear up. Like right now I'm working on authoring the DVD and designing all the menus and everything. So I want to have it ready for this fall for the holidays. So those are like my main focus right now.
Right. Was there ever a time, Will, when you said, I don't want to do this anymore, or why am I doing this?
Almost annually.
Really? That's keeping it real.
Yeah.
That's keeping it 100. Thank you. Okay. like every year.
I was very close to not doing anything before I did Divided Time.
Really? And what you just like, man, I'm not doing this.
I don't know. It's like, I think a lot of creatives just in general like go through these cycles where it's kind of like it's a challenge. Like sometimes you don't feel like you're making any progress or the stuff that you're doing is not having an impact.
Yes.
So it's kind of like, well, what's the point?
Yeah.
So I ended up like, as I was going through that, I decided to lean heavily into like the creating. So that's why I ended up doing Divided Time. So I was like, well, I'm not gonna stop, even though I felt like it. So I'm gonna go hard the other way. But yeah, it's a normal occurrence.
It's a normal occurrence.
It ebbs and flows. It took me part of the reason why it took me a while to finish The Possibility of Her was me fighting some of those feelings.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
aside
real.
from trying to catch up with people on
Right,
schedules.
right.
Like, just like thinking about, like, am I the right person to be doing this? Especially like a film that's centered on women. Like, like, because, there's like the male gaze and everything that you have to be considerate of.
Right.
Just like, all right, well, fighting those feelings and stuff.
But your work is always tastefully done. You depict the characters or the people you're talking to in the film very well. So there's a trust there. I think the community trusts you and what you're going to display and show. And it's always because you're balanced, right? You're always thinking one side and the other side. And it shows in your work. So, no more of that. But of thinking like, is anybody getting it? We're getting it. But I can understand the creative blurriness or like, I can get you on that. But us as a community not digging what you do, we're past that, because you're getting awards now, and that it's being shown in different theaters across like 9 different theaters. So you're on your way. Like, I'm thinking there should be Sundance, and there's Cannes, and there's all of these other bigger ones that you have an opportunity to display your work. And so you're on your way. There's no more talk of that. Will, how can people find you?
I try to make it easy for people to find me. If they go to wfjrfilms.com, that's my website. It's also all social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all WFJR Films.
Like this, I got the bag. Yeah, this is nice. Good stuff. When you get in that space of not being able to create, is it your community of friends that keep you going? What bounces you back in?
There's usually like a couple of different layers.
Okay.
Like, my community, and just like even the people that I don't know, just like being privy to all these people who are doing these awesome things, these great things, is just inspiring in itself. So that's part of it. And now part of it is like part of me doing Our Voices, Our Lives is like I've made an investment. I mean, just to be honest, so I'm like, all right, well, I have an investment in this equipment and things like that. So I'm not gonna let it just sit and gather dust. I'm gonna keep using it,
right? And
I'm gonna keep working on my skills and my skill set to improve. So the next full-length documentary that I do is even better than the last 2 or 3 or 4.
How many you've got? You got quite a few. You got quite a few, Will. You got quite a few. I wanted to leave our listeners with that, because I know that in anything that we do, even as a creator or even as an entrepreneur, sometimes we just want to stop. We don't, like, what are we doing this for? Like, who gets this? Nobody's watching this. Like, really, am I talking to myself? Like, what's going on here? But we want to speak to the little voices that are inside of people that tells you that you just can't quit. There's something inside of you. And I believe in the Most High. So I believe that the Creator gives us things that we have to get out. It would be a shame that we lay in a box or in dirt or however we want to dispose of our physical body and not get all of the spiritual gifts or gifts out.
Right.
And I believe that there are not enough people that look like you, Will, that do documentary work that we can touch and see, and that the quality of work is there. So the mere fact that you've been doing all of this on your own, hats off to you. I tip my hat to you, because you're making an investment in yourself and in your craft and what you believe in. And we want to encourage people to raise the elevation in the quality of work that they do as well. That, yes, be passionate about it, be focused, and make that investment, because it just translates better. It leaves that legacy or that body of work that it's like, You know,
Yeah.
it's spot on. So for those of people that are thinking, you know, I didn't really want to do this, I don't know, you know, we always say it, but really don't give up. Take that time that you feel that you need to kind of sort things out. But I think you've come too far to like stop now. Like there's a bigger story in you that's got to come out. So, you know, to you, Will, much continued success in everything that you do. We're going to get to know me more because I'm going to try to be in one of the episodes. I'm going to try to get in there.
I will say, also part of the motivation is you know, you asked about the response,
Yes.
like when it's at film festivals or screenings, like when I premiered The Possibility of Her here in Atlanta.
Yes.
It sold out twice. Like, so the first time we had a smaller theater,
Yes.
and the tickets sold out, and then we got a larger theater, and the tickets sold out again. So part of it is, you know, the support that, you know, I've received,
Yes.
and part of it is the response from the people who are featured in the projects that I do.
Yes.
Everyone, like, we had a FAQ afterwards, a Q&A afterwards, and like they talked to, like, the host talked to the people who were featured, and they were all very 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 happy with how it turned out, and you know, very pleased. And even with Our Voices, Our Lives, I had one of the people who were featured call me, and like were literally in tears about because you know, how it turned out and how thankful they were for someone being able to see them and give them their voice, and you know, want to hear and share their story.
Nice.
So for me, that's more important than like the awards.
Yes. Changing lives, touching and impacting people.
Yeah, and that's you know, it motivates me to keep going. Like, because I know that the people that I at least the people that I feature appreciate what I'm doing.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
One last thing, Underexposed, is that right? Other one, right? What
Yeah,
is that? What do we got going on in there?
So Underexposed ATL came about because of the 5-minute documentary.
Okay.
Which was called Underexposed, Indie Hip Hop in Atlanta.
Okay.
So I made the social media handles for it because I was promoting it because of the contest, just to, you know, raise awareness for it and have people vote. So it continues, and it is now a channel on the A Network. Where Our Voices, Our Lives is a series under the Underexposed ATL.
Really?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Channel.
Yeah, I think I saw that. Yeah. That just recently happened?
Yeah.
Yes. I saw that.
And it's my Underexposed ATL is my tribute to Atlanta's creative and entrepreneurial community.
Nice.
So whenever I'm out at like art shows or events or whatever, like I'll take pictures and share them on social media Underexposed, because I want to show the other side of Atlanta, the side that's not on the reality shows.
Yes.
The side that, you know, I'm a part of and blown away by.
Yes.
The side that, you know, like when I was here and I didn't know anyone and I found this, like it helped me a lot.
Yeah.
Because I was like, you know, I didn't know what I was doing. I was borderline depressed because I left everything that I knew and all my networks to come here.
Right.
And to start over at 37.
Yeah, and look at you now. Look at you now. So you have Underexposed.
Yeah, Underexposed ATL.
And then you have Our Voices, Our Lives.
Yes.
And then you have
WFJR Films.
So you got 3 different ways to get you, find you, see what you're doing, peeking. You have a website.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's what WFJRfilms.com.
The website, and then there's the Twitter, right? You
Right.
like Twitter. Twitter's giving you love. You like that.
Yeah, and Twitter and Instagram are like great tools.
Yes.
For me, and the possibility of her.
Yes.
I decided today that I'm going to do pre-orders for the not the VHS, for the DVD and Blu-ray starting on my birthday, which is October 18th.
You
So
see-
if they
you
go
heard it
to
first.
thepossibilityofher.com,
Yes.
they can, on that day, they can pre-order the DVD or Blu-ray.
Nice. I'm gonna get mine.
So it's exclusive.
Yes.
You got the first.
I'm gonna get mine because I liked it. I liked it. Will, I want to thank you for your time today.
Thank
this
you.
was very informative. It enlightened our listeners. It enlightened me. I want to wish you nothing but continued success in everything that you do, because again, you are raising the vibration. You are allowing us to look into the lives of people that we know, don't know, sit next to on the bus, work with, have some form of contact with, and you're spotlighting them in a very beautiful way. And you're putting Atlanta in a space and place that people are going to admire, want to be a part of this beautiful community of creatives and people that are doing awesome things in their profession. So thank you for doing what you do. Anything that I can do to help raise the vibration, count me in. I'm all in.
I appreciate that.
Yes, thank you, Will, for your time. You guys know where to catch me. Real Chicks Rock. I'm everywhere. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Facebook. Follow me. The website, we have realchicksrock.com. Look and check and see what we're doing. We got a lot of things coming up. The year is not over. It's the last quarter of the year. We got some things that we got going on. So until next time, you guys continue to take care. Rock on.